shit! Hope you brought plenty of ammunition, sir.
LA Noire is the debut title from Australian-based developers Team Bondi and published by world-infamous studio Rockstar Games, and is available right now on both Xbox 360 and PS3. The player adopts the role of Detective Cole Phelps, an American superhero who pretty much won the Second World War single-handedly, defeating both Mechagodzilla and Super Hitler before returning home to protect the streets of LA from rascals wearing posh hats. However, some cheeky chappie has decided to start killing off a bunch of old ladies, dumping their naked bodies in public parks, so it's up to you to interrogate anyone you can find to get to the bottom of this case and give this gentleman what for. To aid you in your mission to interrogate anything that moves, Team Bondi have enlisted the help of a new technology called motion scan. This allows the detailed capture of the actor's facial movements, creating a wider range of expressions for the in-game characters, so you can work out if someone's telling the truth or porky pies via their facial body language. While this is indeed very impressive, it could have been used to much greater effect. After the novelty of the gimmick wears off, you'll quickly discover that everyone's body language hinges on a single tell, and once you've cracked this tell, interrogations lose their spark, becoming rather easy and to a certain extent pointless.
No, that can't be true.
Typically, when a title advertises a particular gimmick or mechanic quite as heavily as LA Noire has done, it's not unusual for the rest of the game to suffer as a result. Luckily, this isn't the case here, while it does have some pretty weak areas that are enough strengths to make it a worthwhile venture. One thing that is bound to disappoint some players is that although LA Noire looks, sounds and probably smells like a GTA game, they have very little in common, apart from sharing the same engine of course. As a result, you can expect to encounter the same amount of slowdown and the rather rubbish draw distance issues that cropped up in GTA 4. Thankfully, that f***ing annoying cousin isn't shared between games. The only other substantial negative is the lack of variety within missions. After a while, the gameplay formula starts to stagnate. You'll ask the suspect a bunch of questions, search a particular location, and then depending on the outcome, either chase the suspect on foot or in a car, before ultimately either killing them or asking them more questions. When the game finally does break this formula, it's to send you on a riddle-based treasure hunt to locations you probably haven't even discovered yet. It's an interesting idea, but executed very poorly. Luckily, the game will help you out after a few minutes of head-scratching, as without this lifeline, it would have been enough to put a lot of players off.
Yeah? I don't get it.
So, it's within the storyline and cast that you'll find LA Noire's greatest strength. The various characters are all very solid, with the main characters both written and acted incredibly well. Thanks to the capture of the actors' faces, it wouldn't be out of line to compare it to an interactive movie, and not one of those crap FMV sequence jobbies either.
That's how you see it?
Absolutely.
Special mention has to go out to the majority of the storyline, as it will keep you engaged for the most part. Unfortunately, the pace does shift gears towards the end, ultimately tripping over its own feet and rushing the finale to a rather unsatisfactory conclusion. While LA Noire does do several things correctly, it's kinda hard to justify it as a full price purchase. The story on its own will take you in the region of 20 hours, which is enough for a long weekend rental, and while there are a few side missions, these never surpass a few minutes each. At the very least, you do owe it to yourself to rent this title, but it is worth keeping an eye out for any plans of downloadable content, as this should be enough to tip the scales into purchase territory.
That's it! What the fuck are you talking about?